Welcome to the Movie Magnet podcast. I'm Ilono,
And I'm Fali.
and today we're breaking down season 2, episode 8 of the TV show Severance. This episode gives us a lot more insight into Cobel's life. The information revealed here could change the entire dynamics of Lumen management. So let's get started. The episode starts off with Harmony Cobell driving to a home called Salt Lake, which was hinted a few episodes ago.
The last time we saw Cobell, she was contemplating going to Salt Lake before turning around to Lumon to talk to Helena. She ultimately changes her mind and now she's reached Salt Lake. We get to know a bit more about Salt Lake, the city here. The economy of the city was around a Lumon factory, but it was closed down, so the people seem to face a lot of problems. We see a lot of people addicted to ether here. Cobell here references Kier and Imogen meeting at an ether mill, so we assume that the factory in question that was closed down may have been an ether factory.
Let us have a quick rundown of what we know about Cobell from this episode. Harmony Cobell was born to Charlotte Cobell. Charlotte Cobell was sick for a while and passed away when the tube from her throat was removed. If Charlotte removed the tube herself or if Sissy did it remains pretty vague here. Speaking of Sissy, she's Celestine Cobell. Since her name and Charlotte's name starts with a C, we're going out on a limb here and assuming that she's Charlotte's sister and Harmony's aunt. From the nameplate in her house, we know she's been working for Lumen as a quarterly striver or youth apprentice matron.
She lives near the Nine Peninsula, a small home where there are seemingly no homes around. Charlotte Cobell died when Harmony was still in school. Sissy seemed to have raised Harmony and is a staunch believer in the Egans and Lumon. This is probably where Harmony got her cult-like belief with Lumon and the Egans from. She prioritized Harmony's school and her success so much so that she did not let Harmony say goodbye to her mom when she died. Harmony was what you would call a star student. Harmony worked at the Lumen factory, probably the one at Salt Lake, when she was a child, around 8 years old. She then befriended a guy called Hampton there. As she did really well at the factory, she was probably sent to Myrtle Egan School to further her education. From her yearbook, we assume there might be more such schools, as we see the Salt Lake School competing against other regions.
She then graduated from her Wintertide Fellowship with flying colors. She won the Wintertide Fellowship Award that year as well. It was presented to her for being exceptional and for adhering to Lumen principles. James Egan was the person who presented the award to her. James Egan, as a refresher, is the father of Helena Egan and he is the current CEO of Lumen. Speaking of the Wintertide Fellowship, Miss Huang is currently pursuing the same education. To recap, in season 2, episode 5, Mr. Milchick, after his performance review, asks Miss Huang to keep to her business and not indulge in childish folly because she cannot graduate until he has deemed her wintertide material. We don't know the details of this fellowship, but judging from Miss Huang working with a higher level manager like Mr. Milchick, we can assume Harmony Cobell was working with a higher level management employee in the same capacity. After she was awarded the fellowship award, she was probably promoted to a high position herself.
We've always known Cobell had some connection to the Egans or some leverage over them as they never wanted to fire her completely, despite the overtime contingency incident. From this episode, we may just know what the leverage is. It is revealed that designs such as the overtime contingency, gas globe block, and even Severance on its own are actually invented by Cobell. But she has not received any credit for it as we all know James Egan took the credit for it and is known publicly to be the inventor of the Severance chip. This would only mean one thing. Harmony Cobell and James Egan were very closely working together. Maybe Cobell was directly working under James during her fellowship and was retained as an employee to work directly under him.
There were previous theories stating Cobell was an illegitimate child of the Egans. We still do not know who her father is, so we wouldn't close this theory just yet. We now speculate maybe Harmony Cobell and James were in a relationship, and that also may be something that she has leverage over. When Sissy asks her why she didn't reveal she worked on all these designs, Cobell says she was taught that Kier's knowledge was for all, and if she sought credit, she would be banished. Was this the way for Lumen or James Egan to threaten her so he can take the credit for himself? What an awful company! They use child labor in their factories, they groom young children into the cult of Lumen and cure, and lastly, they oppose them taking credit for their achievements. Sounds like slave labor to me.
We wonder what caused Lumen to shut down so suddenly at Salt Lake and abandon the city. From what little of the town we've seen, its citizens don't seem to like Lumon, probably because the economy of the town went downhill after Lumon closed down. We see Sissy is considered more of an outcast in the town, probably because she's one of the people that still supports Lumon and the Egans. To Sissy, Lumon and the Egans are a cultish religious figure, which is probably why she tried to burn her niece's own blueprint designs. To her, everything is in service to Kier, and anyone who opposes it are scum. She is also seen having a Kier shrine like Cobell in Season 1. We see here that there is a news article about James Egan assuming role of Lumon's CEO. We see another article about work-life balance, and another article with probity highlighted as well. We see that Sissy and the Year of Vision are closely connected as her nameplate is from that year, and we also see a bunch of other references to that Year of Vision as well.
Throughout the episode, we see Cobell going to great lengths to avoid Lumen's surveillance. She first asks her friend Hampton to drive her to Cece's house because, quote unquote, they'll be watching if it's her house and they know her car. We notice Mr. Drummond called Cece earlier to probably find Harmony's whereabouts or to find out the hidden blueprints. At the end of the episode, Hampton helps her to get on his truck as he looks on as a car approaches him. He's assumed to be taking the fall for Harmony. The reason he's helping her so much may be because they were more than friends when they were children. As to why there's a car following them in the first place, Sissy probably informed Lumen of Harmony's presence somehow.
While Cobell is making her escape, she finally received a call from Devon. We've seen Devon make one of her calls in the last episode. Devon reveals Mark has been reintegrated. Cobell assumes this was Regabi's doing and asks Mark to tell her everything. Okay, so how did you feel about this episode? What was your general reaction to finding all this backstory about Cobell?
I mean, after the explosive episode for the last one, this was a quite smaller one and it was pretty slow. So I was kind of bored to be honest because it was not much. I mean, of course, we knew Cobell's backstory, but I was not too interested in her story. So it's still pretty good from Severance standards, but like if you compare within the season, I would say this is probably my least favorite. What about you?
I generally liked this episode because it showed that Cobell wasn't as loyal to Lumon as we first thought she was. She's more loyal to her pet project, the Severance project,
Ah, okay.
than Lumon itself.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. That's true. We find out something shocking about Cobell. I just thought that she was a manager, but she's the one who invented all this. So she's much smarter than she looks, which I didn't give her credit for. So, so that's something that actually shocked me. Yeah, I don't think she's as dedicated to Lumen as we thought. Of course, like I guess she was while she was employed to them, but she likes her designs more, like you said. So that's a good thing. But will she turn on Lumen in the future episodes? I'm not sure. Probably she might turn on Lumen. I think she would still want to propagate her severance ideas and stuff, maybe with her own company. I don't think she is fighting for the right reasons, is what I'm thinking.
I don't think Lumon will fully integrate her into their top leaders. So I think creating
Uh huh.
her own company would be better.
I'm somehow shocked that Natalie and Mr. Drummond are like in a higher position than her when she clearly invented the whole thing. So that's kind of sus. Yeah, like I wonder why because I don't are Natalie and Mr. Drummond somehow related to the Eagles? I don't think so, but somehow they don't want to keep Miss Cobell in a higher position. So we have to see why. And she was clearly pretty ambitious and she probably wanted.
Yeah. Or she just wanted to overlook the severed floor. It all goes back to the severed floor.
Ah, yeah. I guess she's only interested in that because all her
Yeah.
inventions are based
And
on that, right?
when she was promoted, she didn't want the promotion. She just wanted to be back on the severed floor.
Because she is obsessed by with her inventions, is what you're saying.
That's the end of our breakdown this episode. We're the Movie Magnet Podcast. See you next episode. Bye.